Steve said, my name's Keith Sides. I'm with USDA-NRCS. I'm actually stationed in Lubbock, so it's a little bit of a drive. It's a little bit of a nice way to start the day off. I've been up here. I actually sit on the PAC for the North Plains Groundwater District, both for the Master Irrigator and the Cotton Program. Let me just kind of give you a little bit of a background on me. I actually started with NRCS kind of late in life. I worked in the irrigation industry for a number of years after I got out of college. Started with NRCS in 2009 as a field engineer, kind of covering the far end of the zone for Zone 1, which is the Roa County south of Lubbock. So where y'all are talking big water up here, they're talking no water down there. A lot of ranch land, Borden County, Garza County, Scurry County. So what I saw down there is a whole lot different than what I've seen up here. Actually, like I said, I came on as a state irrigation engineer in 2015. Irrigation is really kind of what I've done all my life. I did grow up on a cotton farm east of Lubbock, so I actually carry the shovel that my dad gave me when I was 16. He said, "Happy birthday, here, let's go to work." I graduated from Tech in '94 with a BS in Ag Engineering. I have the honor of being the last Ag engineer to graduate from Tech, so that's my little one of those things that you don't ever see, you don't ever hear about. I have worked around the irrigation and agriculture my entire life. Started off, like I said, I couldn't set tubes, I wasn't big enough, so I got to shovel rows, then I got to move pipe, and then do it all on my own when my dad realized I could drive and was fairly responsible. I worked for an irrigation supply company out of Lubbock right out of college. Right when drip was just kicking off in the mid-90s. So I've seen a very big swing in evolution in the drip market. Went from there, thought I needed to be a big fish in a little pond, so I went to national manufacturer, realized I'm not a salesman, I'm a technical guy, and then went back to a local drip irrigation company. NRCS, in a nutshell, we were created by Public Law 7446 back in 1935. The bill that was actually submitted to create the Soil Conservation Service in March of March of 35 was introduced just a couple of weeks before what they call Black Sunday. Congress was actually in session the day that the Black Sunday rolled out of the plains and into Washington, D.C. So those guys got to see exactly how bad it was here. And you can see there's only 2 weeks between Black Sunday when they actually created the SCS as a permanent agency. So Congress can do things, but you just got to get their attention first. That's going to be my political statement for the day. We did change our name from the SCS, or the Soil Conservation Service, to the Natural Resources Conservation Service in 1994 to better represent what we do. We're not just a soil conservation service, and you'll see that here in just a few minutes. We don't work strictly on soil and water conservation. We do animal health, we do energy, we do plant health. We're sort of in on the CRP. We have 10% of it is what we have to actually administer. So we do a little bit of everything. Again, our mission in a nutshell, we are a technical service, and we do have technical expertise in a lot of fields. And we deal directly with producers. We're one of the few government agencies who deal directly with producers. When you talk to the guys in the local field offices, most of them have grown up on farms. They're going to be sympathetic towards you, and they're going to try to help you do everything that we can to help you guys stay in business and stay viable. But we are here to conserve, maintain, and improve our natural resources and the environment. Again, we do this through technical assistance, through conservation planning. We come out, we help you guys, we look at the farms. Again, soil conservation, sheet and rill erosion, water erosion, wind erosion, grazing plans. There are an infinite number of things that we can do for you, so don't be afraid to come in and ask. We do offer financial assistance through some of our conservation practices. These are the biggest conservation programs that you'll see come through NRCS. Everybody's familiar with EQIP. RCPP is a couple of years old. It's a regional conservation partnership program. And then the CSP is a conservation steward program. Those are going to be the big three that you're really going to work with, or if you ever deal with NRCS. This ASEP, that's Agricultural Conservation Easement Program. We don't have a lot of those up here. This one's a wetland easement program. Definitely don't have any wetlands up here, and then just an agricultural liaison. So again, what y'all are more interested in at this point is really the EQIP, and that's kind of what I'm here to talk about. Again, we do offer financial and technical assistance to promote agricultural production, environmental quality as compatible goals. We're not here to drastically change your operations. We want to make your operations better by introducing conservation programs and conservation practices into your normal operation practices to help you remain viable, make sure that your make sure that your farming operation or your ranching operation is still viable, not only for you, for your kids and your grandkids and their kids. So again, we've been around since '35, so we want to maintain that viability in the agricultural market. We get this a lot. EQIP is not a 100% grant program. It is a grant program or a cost share. It's an incentive more than anything. It's actually in the title, Environmental Quality Incentive Program. So what we do is we offer these cost share and this financial assistance to these producers, to y'all, to incorporate new conservation practices or increasingly more management stringent conservation practices into their farming operations. We've had people that are saying, well, you're not paying enough because you're not paying the whole bill. Well, that's the way it's set up. A lot of people don't have a vested interest if they don't have, skin in the game. That's right. So, having money out of your own pocket put into these conservation practices is what you guys get, again, with the technical assistance, the financial assistance. It's a triangle. You guys have to have something in there to be able to make this work and to keep it going. Can you walk into our office and just walk out with a check? No. We are the government. We don't work that fast. We do have continual signups. So no matter what people say, no matter what Gen Talk is or anything like that, you can go into an NRCS office in your local county. And in Texas, there are 254 counties. We have 250 offices. So there's a good possibility that in the state of Texas, you will be able to walk into your county and find an NRCS office. Again, there's only one county in Zone 1 that doesn't have an office, and that's in Borden County. I don't know why they didn't set it up that way, but they just, everything out of Borden County is carried out of Surrey County. We do usually have 2 or 3 funding periods per year. And when I sent this to Julia to put in, this is the way it's always been, or has been recently. Late May, mid-July, or late August, these got moved up. The bad news is we've missed, because of the timing on our NRCS offices and our programs, we've actually missed the first application period. It was actually on the 15th. Good news is, because y'all are in this class, and we do have these continual sign-ups, the next funding period, or the next application deadline is May 10th. The other good news is, because you are in the Master Irrigator program, you do have a special allocated pot of money that y'all have first access to. So again, that's always something that people ask. You know, when can I sign up? What's the deadline? The other deadline that I didn't really put on here is September 30th. And what that is that is the end of our fiscal year. If you don't get funded in fiscal year, like this is fiscal year 20 or 19, excuse me. If you don't get funded in fiscal year 19, any applications that are in with our offices basically become void. You can go in, you can just sign a piece of paper, say I want to roll it over. You don't have to go through all the paperwork again, but it's a real simple deal to roll it over from one year to the next. But that September 30th is a big day for us. Again, EQIP is divided into 3 pots of money. You have your national initiatives, you have your state funds, and then your local funds. Again, this local funds is a little bit of a misnomer. It's really called resource team funds. Now, the resource teams are local. Dumas, there's a resource team that the team leader is here in Dumas, and they have 4 counties that are basically Mike Caldwell. I don't know if y'all know him. If y'all don't, y'all need to get to know him. There's the Dumas team that encompasses basically half of the North Plains area, and there's a Spearman team that basically encompasses the other half. But out of those 2 teams, they will have their own individual pots of money for your local concerns and your local growers. The national initiatives, those are something, again, that are sent down from Washington, D.C. Really don't have a lot of input on those. But some of the ones that if you go in and you sign up for national initiative, you will be ranked against other applicants across the nation. So sometimes Texas fares really well in that based on the application process and the requirements on those national initiatives. Sometimes they don't. But as you come in, air quality is a big one. Texas seems to fare very well on air quality as far as a national initiative. There was one a couple of years ago, or actually even last year, there was a national initiative called the Ogallala Aquifer Initiative, and the only requirement for it to be eligible for it was you had to be pulling out of the Ogallala Aquifer. So as a national initiative, it was limited to 9 states. With the new farm bill, they actually did away with that one. So, but they didn't do away with the money. They just kind of rolled it into the state funds and the resource funds. There are 9 state funds, and the Master Irrigator is one of those 9. So again, make sure you get in and make those applications to your local offices. That's another thing is you cannot get this money if you don't make an application. The first class, we almost ran into a big hiccup because they were getting there was a lot of information that was being passed around that wasn't correct, and those producers thought that just because they had their certificate in hand that they were automatically just going to get a check. So we finished on a Wednesday. The application deadline was on Friday, so there was a lot of scrambling on Thursdays and Fridays to get down to their local offices and get those applications in. All 3 of these pots of money have one thing in common. They have to address a resource concern. Again, whether it's plant health or animal health or irrigation water quality, irrigation water quantity, inefficient water use. There's a whole list of some of the resource concerns and the practices that go along with them. Like I said, EQIP, as far as I'm concerned, is an irrigation based. That's what I do. I mean, that's what I've grown up with. But if you look at the resource concerns and some of the practices that are listed under this, your degraded plant condition, we will take care of. I mean, we have those practices in our cost list. The livestock production limitation, the inefficient energy use. I know a lot of people have interest in livestock. It's a diversification. So don't think that EQIP is strictly a row crop practice or a row crop program. We do have soil, all these practices for soil erosion, soil quality degradation. This conservation cover has really taken off in the last couple of years, especially on the southern end of the zone where the water is really falling off. We have a lot of people that are giving up irrigated land and putting it in conservation cover. Basically, they're taking the water that they have and they're concentrating it on their better pieces of ground and increasing their production on a smaller piece of ground. Again, these are, and you'll see some of them that are conservation cover, grass residue management, rotation, forage, biomass planting. Those are part of our ecological sciences. I work on the engineering side. So, but again, insufficient water, fish and wildlife, water quality degradation, air quality. Again, these are all in your book. So again, these are things that you can sign up for outside of the Master Irrigator program. Again, don't be afraid to use NRCS. We are, the big joke is the check's in the mail and I'm from the government, I'm here to help. We really are. NRCS is really here to help because we do want to see you guys continue on in your irrigation and your farming practices. Again, your national initiatives are ranked at a national level. Texas competes with New Mexico, which competes with Nebraska, which competes with Montana. Again, the Ogallala was there, but they took it out in this last farm bill. Our state resource concerns, again, ranked at a state level. Moore County versus Aquifer versus San Saba versus Bear County. So those guys are the state resource concerns. Again, are ranked statewide. Special categories have their own pot of money. The Master Irrigator program is one of those categories. So it's really nice that you don't have to worry about competing with others. In the Master Irrigator program, I'll give you a little bit of background into the ranking of it. As you make the application, you'll be ranked as a high priority, a medium priority, or a low priority. The high priority are you guys that are currently enrolled or the most recent graduates of the Master Irrigator program. If y'all don't use all the money that's in that pot of money, then it rolls over to the medium group, which is previous graduates of the Master Irrigator program. So last year's, again, if y'all don't take all the money that's in that pot this year, last year's or the second year's or the first year's program graduates, they can come in, they can make an application under the Master Irrigator program, and they can finish that pot of money out. The low priority is actually everybody else that's in the North Plains Groundwater District. So if y'all don't use it, the old graduates don't use it, it's actually fair game for everybody else.
What if we've already signed up and are approved for this round? Do we need to forego that and
no, you can have
summer one?
You can have more than one contract with NRCS at any one time. So
oh, I mean as far as using the Master Irrigator part of it.
That's up to you. Again, because if you already have an application and you have a contract,
I don't have a contract.
Don't have a contract. Again, that's up to you. I know at one time there was kind of a gentleman's agreement within the Master Irrigator program, because it is a limited pot, that you would not ask for more than a certain amount of money. Again, that was a gentleman's agreement in-house. As far as NRCS is concerned, you can go in and you can ask for up to $450,000 per farm bill, which is
so. Can I use my Master Irrigator on this EQIP that I was approved for 3 days ago?
If it's approved, what practice was it? You know?
It's on some sprinklers.
Okay. Again, it's kind of up to you. I mean, if you
Keith, is that
you're lucky.
Means funded? You're going to be funded?
Is it, have you just not gone in and I mean, have they called you and said your application's been approved? And
They started asking like what year models and what practices and all that.
Okay. They should have actually had all or taken all that information when you made your application.
Well, we did, but now they're wanting the proof of.
Okay. Okay. Again, without knowing what kind of what application, exactly what practices you're applying for, and the cost your amount, I would probably leave that one in place. Make another application if you've got another system that you were kind of on the fence of reworking, or something else that you were going to redo, later on. Again, because you're pretty good. You're sitting really pretty, because you do have at least one funding contract, or approval in there, and then this one is again almost a guaranteed amount anyway. So. Your county base or your resource teams, these funding priorities are set by your local work groups. If you want to have a say in how the federal government spends its money, go to these local work groups. They will go in and they will talk about what resource concerns you want to take care of. In the irrigation heavy counties, these are usually, pivots, drip. They usually rank pretty high. Renozzling of pivots, pipelines, structure for water control, which is flow meters, chemigation valves. Those things really rank really high in those kind of counties. If you have a livestock operation, you may be a little bit different, but you do have your own land use. And each one of these land uses will have a small pot of money within itself. Again, if you want to have some kind of say in how those monies are doled out through our program, be looking in the local paper, listening to the radios. Those are set up fairly early in the year. I think this year they've already been set. So I hate to say it, you missed out this year, but watch for it next year. Like I said, in the local papers and the offices will have these kind of dates. But again, you'll see rangeland, cropland, and irrigated cropland. And that's rain fed. That cropland is just rain fed. So you'll see a different funding pool for rain fed cropland versus irrigated. Again, I work on the engineering side. These are some of the irrigation practices, the pivot, the drip, pipelines, structure for water control, flow meters, chemigation valves, soil moisture sensors, and so on and so on. We do earthwork, terraces and waterways. If we get real busy, or have a real wet spring or a real wet year, this tends to take off from one year to the next. This may go down, but again, even under the range of wildlife practices, we have engineering practices, water facilities, livestock pipelines, and solar pumps. Our ecological sciences, fences, and again, I'm kind of going through some of these. It really doesn't pertain to the master irrigator, but I know a lot of y'all have, y'all have a ranching interest and may have a split operation where you do have some ranching and some cropland production. Again, on the fencing, cross fences only, more for grazing distribution and plant health. We do range planting and seasonal high tunnels, basically small greenhouses. The one thing on the seasonal high tunnels is they have to be in native ground. They can't be on a pot, on a bench. They have to actually be in the ground. So they're basically greenhouses that get stuck in behind people's houses to extend growing season. If you're propagating peppers or something like that, that's kind of where that comes in. Anyone can participate. So if you've got a farm number and a tract number, you can go into the local NRCS office and you can apply. We do work with other local and state agencies, ag organizations, agribusinesses, and anybody that's going to be an impacted stakeholder. I'll be all right. Again, no minimum acre size or practice units. You can go in and you can actually sign up for half an acre, for one practice on half an acre if you want to. If that's what you want to look at, then you can do that. This is coming into effect a lot around some of the metropolitan areas where people are buying 5 and 10 acre plots, and they're going out and they're getting a farm number and tract number, and they're having us help with some of their water management, livestock. So again, there's really no caps to restrict participant. We're not going to differentiate between a guy who farms 10 acres and a guy who farms 10,000 acres. They're all going to come in. They're going to make their application. They're all going to be ranked based on their needs in their operation. These two have not changed from the last farm bill to this farm bill. If you're making that much, you're better than I am. Your payment limitation is, again, it's $450,000 for the current farm bill. So farm bills usually last about 4 years. That's a pretty good chunk of money over 4 years to be getting from the government. Again, no restrictions on the number of applicants or applications. You can come in, and if you got, again, if you're one of those big guys that farms 10 or 12,000 acres, and you've got, you know, every farm is 100 acres or something, you can make an application on every farm. And we will sit there and we will work with you and figure out what you need to do. But we're not going to tell you can't make an application. And every application you take, we're going to take it, we're going to file it, and we're going to work it. We do payment rates. We try to keep up with agricultural input cost. I'm actually on a national payment cost list team. This is kind of a, I'll go ahead and say it's not true, because the team I'm working on hasn't updated some of the practice costs in over 5 years. And we do have a special payment rate for some of the historically underserved, whether it's a minority, a woman, beginning farmer rancher, veteran farmer rancher. Again, go in and talk to your local county or your local guys on those. Technical resources, and these are really in the way that you'll talk to people and you'll make contact with us. Again, your field offices are going to be good. They're in every county. We have the main zone office in Lubbock. We actually have a satellite zone office in Amarillo, so if you need help quickly, they can get it out of the Amarillo office. Our state office is actually in Temple, so kind of not real where you would expect to see a state office out of. And then we have our National Technology Support Centers, which we are lucky to have one in Fort Worth. So, and the Technology Support Center supports everything: ecological sciences, engineering, and they have specialists down to water management engineers, soil health specialists, range. So they're there for us. Again, these are your offices in the North Plains Groundwater Conservation District. If you don't know these guys and ladies, they are the salt of the earth, and they will do what they can to help you to keep your operation up and going as long as they can. Again, financial and technical assistance, we're here to help because we want to keep you guys up and going. Any questions? I know I went over, I'm sorry.
Keith, is there any sense of urgency, because I know this is the last year of the Special Master Irrigator Partnership? Does that mean that these guys only have till a certain time to apply for their money?
They have, these guys have until probably the last application deadline, which will be July sometime. So again, from now you have until May 10th. I think that's what it was. Yeah, the next application deadline is May 10th. So you've got between now and then to go in with your certificate to, you know, if you have an application that you really want to get funded, move that application out of your county base or your resource team into the master irrigator and work it that way, because you're almost guaranteed, you know, to get that one funded. But like I said, that last funding window, application window, is kind of hit or miss, depends on what Texas gets as slippage from other states. So as far as an urgency, not yet, but it gets close to May 10th and you haven't made that application, that's when you might want to start getting in and taking a day and making it over to your county guys.
We have land north of Austin in Williamson County. We continuously fight the cedars there. Is where that is out of this North Plains district, is there any advantage of the master irrigator class to help us?
Down there, no. The master irrigator fund code ends at the boundary line. Now there are some other places, or some other practices down there, out of Williams, grubbing and some of the salt cedar beetles. I don't know if we do that anymore, we used to. But yeah, you just have to go in and talk to those guys down there but as far as transferring money from here to down there, no, you can't do, that one's just not part of the plan.
Okay. How long does the master irrigator blessing continue? You said if this current group doesn't use all the slush pit.
Right.
Then the second group comes in.
The second group comes in. It's good until the end of the fiscal year. Because at the end of the fiscal year, all of our funding codes stop. And so right now, this one is good until September 30th. So again, if you get one, you get this one, you wait till, June or July, you go in, I don't know, what county you're in, you go into your local county, you say, hey, is there any more funding, any more money in the master irrigator? Can I make another application? That's as simple as that. You can go in and talk to those guys and they'll be able to pull that up for you.
Okay, thank you.